about what do we want to change and how can we start doing that through practice before we let the law and society catch up with us.
Women, y'all grant access to sex. So if you want to have a serious relationship, you're trying to build something with somebody and you're not giving them sex, they can get it somewhere else. And I feel like that's the little bit of the issue where women aren't necessarily on the same page overall. And you don't have to be. Everybody has, free will to do what they want. But if sex is so available, it's given to so many people, it makes me quick to go, if I'm trying to date you and after like a week or two, you're not giving it up, and it's like, I know somebody that will, just so easily and require less. I think it's a thing that people don't realize, that all men don't have sex. All men don't have sex. Majority of men can't get sex. The problem is the small group of men are getting all the sex. So I think if there would be a sex strike, it might need to maybe be I don't know if you want to call it preference, or maybe a pullback from all of us giving sex to the same men at such a large rate, because I have friends that haven't had sex in months, and then I can talk to my one homeboy, he can have sex 3 times a day if he wanted to. So I think that's just the balance there, where I think a lot of people have a misconception where men are just having sex all the time. The average man can have sex when he wants. It's just not possible.
Well, you're referencing that 2019 stat that came out that said that 1 in 3 men under 30 have not had sex at all in the last year.
Yeah.
And so this idea that men have constant sexual access, to your point, it's some have. So is there something to shifting the landscape so it's more in women's favor?
Hey guys, and welcome to Dark Arts 91 podcast. Yes, I'm on both platforms, Little Black Book and Dark Arts. I will actually end the Little Black Book live in about 5 minutes. So if you're not on the Dark Arts channel, listen, make sure you guys subscribe to it. I'll give you guys a link so you can jump on that particular channel. But today what we're talking about is if you're looking to get wifed up, if you're looking for marriage, if you're looking for a partner, if you're looking to be taken seriously in the game, I think it's time that I start releasing some of the darker truths to you, because you know what? I want to see you flourish. I want to see you win. I want to see you do well. I want to see you, in your best element when it comes to relationships. Because I feel like oftentimes when we talk about relationships, we don't talk about the attainment of them and what happens in the dating market. But specifically today, I'm going to talk to you guys about something that I noticed. And I spoke a little bit about this on my Little Black Book channel when I spoke to a gentleman who you might have watched. We're talking about his exploits in the past. And yeah, there were some things that were said that I thought to myself, yeah, this is real. And this needs to be spoken about, So I want to break down some things for you today. If you're looking for a relationship, married up, then you need to avoid the men in demon time, okay? Call it dark zone, call it demon time, call it the men that are just wanting sex. You need to avoid these type of men. Ladies, this is specifically for you, because I want to help you and I want to see you flourish and I don't want to see you lose, okay? All right, so again, once more, if you haven't already joined over onto the Dark Arts channel, YouTube, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to literally stop this live on Little Black Book, and we're going to be solely on the Dark Arts podcast. I've put a link in the chat so you can click on it and start watching from there. All right, let me do my introduction and let me tell you something a little about why I decided to take up this particular aspect and break it down this particular way, okay? And let me drop this little intro. The Dark Arts. Yes, guys, welcome to Dark Arts Podcast 91. If you're interested in not getting played anymore and you're tired of being influenced, controlled, manipulated, then this is the podcast for you, because I'm going to help you avoid all those pitfalls in dating. Let's get into this. So I was listening to this podcast with Shannon Booty, and they were talking about sex and talking about the sexual dating marketplace and what's happening in the world so far. And what was really interesting was the fact that I understood where they were coming from, but it prompted me to start thinking about some of the past exploits and some of the things that have happened. And so I want to talk about this very first thing here called the dark zone, okay? The dark zone, or the demon time, you want to call it. And this is where your mind is simply invested in sexual relationships. When men are in the when men are in the dark zone or the demon time, this is where they're solely invested in sexual relationships and nothing else. And what I want to tell you is, if you are trying to be in a relationship, this is the goon you need to avoid. Okay? This is the goon you're going to need to avoid, right? The person you need to avoid is this kind of guy. Because this kind of guy has nothing else but A to B, and there is nothing going to stand in his way. All right? Unless you are an immovable object who he gently wants, you're not going to stop him, right? He's going to literally steamroll you. And so instead of standing in his way, remove yourself from the place. The dark zone is somewhere where when us men get into that place, all we really care about is your body. Your body is making me it. My poetry is not song out here. Anyway, but when you're in that dark zone, all you can think about is, how do I get my leg over? How do I get this girl to be on my program right now to do what I want? How do I just get what I want out of the situation? How do I get this girl to, fall in line so that, the thing's set and the thing is patterned, and I can get, into the box, what I'm saying, and score a couple goals. How do I make sure I'm in that space? When a man is solely thinking about that, there is nothing you're going to do to change his mind. You understand? Bar it be God, you can't change his mind. And when he's in that zone, he's looking for something which is really interesting. He's looking for anybody who will respond. Right? Now, there are different types of players who play this particular sport and who play in the dark zone. Not everybody has morals in the dark zone. In fact, I think a lot of guys don't have morals in the dark zone. And when I say by morals, I mean there's honor amongst thieves to a degree. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has their morals and their levels. There are some guys who are happy to play with women who they know definitely don't want to be in a dark zone. They're happy to play with women and lie to them. And this involves lying, cajoling, manipulating, sometimes even coercion, which is actually rape. So guys, don't do that. There's an aspect of that darkness coming into play, right? The girl told you what she wants and you still lie, cheat, and steal just to get the box, right? There are some guys who do operate that. I don't believe the majority of guys operate in that space. That's a very specific type of male, and there aren't that many. I'll be honest with you. The majority of men fall in line with, if I don't say anything, and you guys have heard me talk about the gray zone, if I don't say anything and you don't say anything, and we happen to get to a conjunction where it ends up being about sex, well, to be honest, you can't blame me, right? You might have wanted a relationship, but you didn't speak up, and I didn't tell you wanted a relationship. So, you know what I mean? That's what we call the gray zone, right? So a lot of men are in the gray zone where they allow things to be ambiguous. And when I talk about the dark zone, in the gray zone, it means ambiguity between two people who come to the table to mediate between a man and a woman. When I talk about the dark zone, I'm talking about a mentality, a mindset. So I really should call it maybe demon time. It's the mindset of the individual person, right? What I'm thinking and what I'm wanting to do. And so majority of men oftentimes play with the gray zone, which is, if I haven't said it, you can't hold me to it. If I haven't said it as a contract between the two of us, you can't hold me to it, right? That's where majority of men play with women in that aspect. They try to avoid as much as possible having conversations, admitting to what their intentions are. Like, they will avoid as much as possible getting to that place where they finally admit what they actually want, because if they avoid it, they feel to themselves they can't be held accountable. And to some degree, it's true, they can't be held accountable because he ain't said nothing. You know what I mean? So you assumed, right? So that's the gray zone, right? That's the gray zone. But those men oftentimes are avoiders. And then, you have people that are, I will say, opportunistic. You have these kind of men that are opportunistic in terms of the fact that an opportunity came their way and they took it. Like it's not like they were searching for it. It's not like they were trying to go after it. Literally, it fell in their lap. You met him, he met you, y'all spoke, and then you end up kicking it. You know what I mean? Like it happens, right? Fine. But I'm talking now about the mindset of that male, of that individual, where he stands right now. Demon time, dark zone. Let me change the thing so it doesn't confuse people, right? The dark zone, demon time. And what that is his mind is simply set on just having sex. That's it. Pure blooded. That's all he's thinking about, right? And the problem here is a lot of men can't be in demon time or in the dark zone because they don't, one, have the skills to do it, don't have the resources, finances, don't have the status to do it, don't have the power to do it, and are not built to do it. Meaning they don't have the suave, the charm, the chat. They don't have the confidence to be able to execute being in demon time. I'm not saying that some men don't take advantage of an opportunity that comes their way, but demon time and dark zone are prolonged periods of time. It's a mindset, right? It's a mindset. So what happens is you got these men that enter into the demon time, the dark zone, and all they're thinking about is sex. When they encounter you, okay, they're looking for like-minded individuals. And when I say like-minded individuals, it does not mean that the woman's on demon time. What it means is the woman is willing to accept his mindset as hers. The woman's willing to accept his standard as hers. The woman is willing to accept his particular agreement, non-verbal oftentimes, as an agreement. So when I come to you and you see my energy and I'm moving in a particular way, I haven't necessarily want to do anything to you, but you can see that, you know, I'm really not on shit. You can see I'm not really on that. I'm not really on a relationship. You can see that I'm not really on trying to wife you or anything like that. I'm a playboy, whatever. And you can see that I'm not really serious about really what I'm trying to do, right? And so when I approach the situation, right? When I approach the situation and I get to you, right? There really should be a negotiation when I meet you. There should be, right? And I'll address this point a little bit later. But what happens is some people are too scared to negotiate, or some people are too starstruck. Some people are too have allowed their alter ego to interact with that individual person, and what happens is they get swayed into another space, into another decision, into another location. They end up in the dark zone with a gentleman, right? But the demon time, the man is looking for a particular mindset. So if you have a mindset that you want a relationship, you want to be married, you can't give in to my demon time. If I'm on demon time, my mindset is strictly sex. You will know because I don't talk. I'm not trying to talk about relationships. I'm really not trying to. I mean, I can talk about it, but I'm really not talking about it in the presence of you. I'm not saying it like, oh, you know, me and you are. You will not hear me say that. You will not hear me say that. You will not hear me talk about our future in terms of it being positive. You will not hear me, you know, trying to portray a positive future with us two. I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to think that I think that, because I don't want you to start getting any ideas. I want you to think what I think, which is about sex. Okay? So I'm looking for a similar mindset. I'm looking for who's willing to accept my standard, who's willing to accept my mindset, who's willing to adopt my thought process. So when we meet and I start talking, I start observing, I start watching you, I start seeing, I start talking, and I start seeing, where do you stand with me? We literally have a battle non-verbally. And it's one of my points, actually. I'll put it there. But we have that's not a battle of powers, but I'll address that a little bit later on. But we literally have a battle. Okay? We have a battle. Right there and then we have a battle. And it's non-verbal. And literally, it starts off non-verbal, it can end up verbal. And the aspect is this: what is your position? We're literally playing battleships in person, right? So what happens is, as I start talking to you and you have your standards, are you willing to commit to the standards? don't give me room, but be cool. Meaning you got to wait to see what am I going to propose on the table. Now, of course, if you just want sex and you sorry, my mic there went. We can still be cool. We can still be quote unquote an acquaintance. We can still be quote unquote friends, whatever you want to call it. But when I meet you, you've got to hold true to your standard. And I'll come to that point in a deeper way later on. But you got to have your standard. And when I meet you, when I'm talking to you, I'm trying to see, will she bend? Will she bend? See, if you're willing to bend, then I know I got you. But we know by just the first interaction, oftentimes, whether you're going to bend or not. You know, right? Even if you're feeling me, right? Even if you're feeling me, you will know if that person's willing to bend on their particular principles or not because of the way that they believe in their principles. Many people say they believe in something and don't actually believe in it because it doesn't come through the actual behavior, it doesn't come in what they say, it doesn't come in the energy they produce. We know some of you don't believe in it, right? See, some of you say you got an armor on, and yet when we prod you, you ain't got no armor on, right? So it's no good just saying I have these beliefs, but you actually have to believe it. And when you believe it, it actually comes across to us. We actually receive it. I'll give you an example. My past times, as I've been on demon time in the past and that, and you come across certain women who do you know what? We actually like each other. And the person will let you know straight up, I like you, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not interested in having sex. I want a relationship. You're just like, wait, what? And this is actually going to my further point later on. And I'll talk more about it when we get there, right? But this is the immovable object mindset. I'm skipping ahead slightly. I'm going to come back on myself. This is the immovable object mindset where you meet somebody, okay, who says, you know what? I'm not going to have it. Like, listen, I hear you, I see you, and I even feel you. But can I be honest with you? What I want is I want a relationship. So if I know you're not on it, I refuse to give in to you. I'm not about it. And sometimes that also might mean, that also might mean that, you might not have to be friends. That also might mean you're not gonna be cool. That might also mean that you may not be able to spend time with that person, or it may be may be able to. But the reality is, whatever works best for you to hold that standard that you have, you gotta give me that. Because if I'm on demon time, you've got to make sure that the demon has no room. Do you get me? There's no room for me. There's no room for me to wiggle around and maneuver and try to tempt your mind. So in most cases, you might have to say, listen, hey, I appreciate it, but it's not for me. And you leave them alone. Right? You don't give me room. You can be cool, but don't give me room. And the reason why I'm saying is because once you give that person room, especially the guy that's just on sex and just wants to have your body, all that's going to happen is I'm going to waste your time. And I say waste your time in a general sense where what you actually wanted is to have a relationship, but you're wasting your own time by dealing with me knowing that that's not going to get the end result that you actually want. Do you see what I'm saying? Then that becomes what we call over here, and I'll address these things as we go, an opportunity cost. Because every time you spend, the more time you spend with me, and I'm saying me as an encapsulation, not necessarily me, but as an encapsulation, if I'm in demon time, if that's what I'm on, and you spend that time with me, all you're doing is wasting your time and not actually focusing on what you need to focus on. which is the person who you really want, right? Which is a person who you really needed, that you needed to be in a relationship. And so as you spend time on me, by focusing on me, you can't focus on what's happening behind. If you focus on me in the foreground, what's happening in the background that you actually need to focus on, you can't focus on it because you got me in your sights. And so everything else that's happening behind me, you can't really see. And actually that makes you miss opportunities that might be better off for you. If you already know what I'm on. Do you see what I'm saying? And you know me already, guys. Everything but a no, everything but a yes is a no. There is no if, muts, maybes. There is no like, yo, later on, or, if we're not on it now, you're not on it. And when you're ready to be on it, then let me know. You be serious and you be intentional. But if you're not on it, you're not on it. Do you get me? If you're not on it, you're not on it. It's okay. It's not that you're bad or you're a bad person. No. Listen, if you're just not on it, you're not on it. Don't give me room. Be cool, but don't give me room. But be cool. You know what I'm saying? Okay, 1D. And this is a part of a mindset issue as well, right? Ladies, specifically, I'm talking to you guys, right? Do not engage with the guy that you think is God. When I say the guy that think is God, not necessarily that he's actually a God, but you think he's super amazing. You know what? You've always wanted him. Oh, you know what? You would drop your panties for him. Like, let's just keep it a buck and real. You know who you would like, you're thinking, oh my God, he is. Yeah. Don't play with that person. If they're not on what you're on, don't play with them. They are your weakness. Because they are your fantasy. They are your, I wish I could. They are, what if person. But they're probably going to waste the most amount of time in your life because they have already a buy-in to your life already. Because they know already. I call this the anaconda snake. The anaconda snake is one of the biggest snakes in the world. It can grow up to be one of the biggest snakes in the world. And when it presents itself, you can't miss it. Because of its size, it begins to strangle its prey and squeeze the life out of that person. That's going to be you. Right? That's the honest truth. Right? If this person, and this is where you have to be super honest with yourself as an individual. And this, I say this for ladies, but it's all can be for men too. But oftentimes it's men doing it to women. So if you honestly know that this person, and you have to search your own feelings and emotions, you know yourself what that man is to you. And if you know he's in a position where you're like, I would do anything for this man. I drop the panties. I pay bills. I do that. When you get that feeling, you know what I'm saying? If that's the feeling you're going to get, I'm going to tell you now, do not engage. Because if they're not on what you're on, they are going to waste the most amount of time and you're going to die a slow death. Because an anaconda will take its time to wrap itself around you and begin to squeeze and break your ribs and before you know it, you are struggling to breathe. We don't want you to be in that position. Okay? We don't want you to be in that position. So if that man is a God to you, and I mean by that a God, I mean by if that man is really really something to you. I mean, you would do anything for this person. You know those guys, ladies, those guys that you would. Okay, and then we're not talking about Chris Browns and that. We're talking about those normal men that you think, oh God, he's handsome right there. He's a good-looking bloke right there. Then you need to avoid that one. Don't engage. Because oftentimes that is your weakness, and that is the person that's going to waste most of your time. And let me tell you something about the difference between men and women is this. Men will happily date down. When I say date down, we'll happily have sex down. We happily will. If you're not equally good looking, I mean, there are some men that are really bougie. Don't get it twisted. But a lot of men are like, if we're not equally good looking, they will still take the poussoir. They will happily take it. And you know what? The worst thing is he's going to put the minimum amount of time in and the minimum amount of effort in, and you're going to give him the maximum output. Because you're trying to catch the big fish, which is probably what I should put in 1E. The problem is you start to want the big fish because you're looking at him as a big catch and he's looking at you as a small fish. So he's putting a minimum amount of time and getting the maximum amount of effort from you. And this is where you start to realize you're being swallowed whole by an anaconda. I don't want to see that for you. I don't feel that for you. That's a word right there, El Cid. That's a word right there. That is a word right there. You know? Okay, cool. All right. So for the men out there, listen, just want to bring this up as well. Because I give two sides. I'll give two sides. Okay. Camille Floyd, I'll answer your question in a second, right? Okay. Right. So listen to what I said. Yeah. So sexual dating market position. I'm gonna give the flip side. I'm gonna get dark now. We're gonna get real dark now. If I let me put some music on, because we gonna get dark in this place. We gonna get dark. Okay, we gonna get dark. So let me get some music up in here, just to kind of just set the mood right. It's dark. Right? All right, cool. So it's about to get dark. Sexual dating market position. I'm going to give you the mindset of the men and how they can play the game so that I can actually help the women be able to avoid them. Okay, so I need to give that so that you can actually avoid them. Here it is. Mandem, you want to play this game? You need to understand what position in the dating market position you actually are. And the reason why you need to understand where you are is so that you can position yourself at the top of the league. Look, understand something. There are leagues when it comes to what kind of influence you have over women. There are different types of snakes. There are grass. There is anaconda. There's viper. There is rattle. There's all types of snakes, right? But I want you to understand something. You must understand, mandem, where you actually stand in the sexual dating marketplace. See, if you want to be able to play this game with the ladies, you've got to position yourself at the top of the market, of your league. Understand something. There are other men who are above you, who are in the top of their league, but know what league you stand in. Because every man's got his own league. Now, some of you, you're delusional. That's the problem with some of you men. You're delusional. You're trying to attract certain gal who are not in your league. And you're at the bottom of their league. And you're trying to have influence like you're top of their league. It ain't going to work. That's why you're losing right now. I know I'm giving bad information, but let me just tell you. I want to say this so the ladies can understand something. I promise you will come all full way around. Because the reality is, all the information I just gave to the ladies right now, a lot of women either don't have access to that information, already know it, but will end up doing the opposite anyway until experience teaches them not to do this. Okay? I'm just going to give you the dark side of the life. Okay? And in between that time, between when they finally see the light and understand that they don't need to give time to you, this is your opportunity. Just going to say it straight. This is your opportunity. Okay? So your positioning is important. When you play sports and you play to an elite level, they'll tell you positioning is a key thing. You can have speed, you can have strength, you can have all these things, but once you know your positioning, and you don't need always a strength and always a speed. You just got to know how to handle that particular position and that role in that position, right? So if you know where you stand in the dating marketplace, you will start to realize there's certain gal who are never going to respond to you in a way that you want them to. You want them to. They are your fantasy because they're in a league above you. It's okay. All right? It's okay. Stop shooting there. You need to shoot at your league and the people that are below you in that league. Because then you have ultimate influence. I'm being bad. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay? Then you have ultimate influence over those who are below you in that league. And you will know them because they give you the signal when they show you how they feel about you. Sometimes it's a look. Sometimes it's a glance. Sometimes the way they touch you. Sometimes the fact that they're first to hit you up and message you all the time, right? They're going to show you ultimate interest. Just being real. They're going to show interest. You're going to see it. Some of them even double text. Some of them even double message. Some of them are, will be liking all your pictures, then entering your DMs. Okay? When women like you, they tend to kind of show you in a very passive way, but you need to open your eyes. Okay? Those are the women that you have influence over oftentimes. Just saying. Right? Now, I gave that information for good reason. Ladies, don't be a fool and not listen to what I just said. The mandem are always going to play. They're always going to try and prey on the women that don't believe this information. until they experience it themselves and they realize, no, it's true, the man am going to play, right? The men are always going to take advantage of the women who don't have their needs in order and who don't believe they should actually adhere to their actual needs. If you're not willing to stay true to what you believe and your own mindset, I can guarantee you what I just told the boys, they're going to play you. Right? They're going to play you. They're going to play you. Because we're hoping that you're going to have our mindset. We're hoping that you don't even believe your own truth yourself. You said you want a relationship, but you're out here knowing that I don't want a relationship, but you're all up on me. You said you do. You said you wanted a man to be in a relationship with. I told you, you know what? I'm not really sure about if I want a relationship or not, but you're here cozying up next to me. What do you want me to do? What do you want these boys to do? Right? You told me that you're serious about, you know what? You're serious about you being married and everything like that. But then I come along and I'm telling you that, hey, I'm not even gonna, and the thing is, I'm not even gonna tell you no. Some guys are not gonna tell you no, that's not what I want. They're gonna be roundabout the way. They're gonna tell you a phrase or a story about it. You know, right now I'm just trying to focus on my business right now. You know, but I could be ready soon. Like I'm thinking about in a year's time, maybe 6 months time, I could be ready. He's not said yes to your proposal. PEW, you guys know this. Position, expectation, wants. Your position is I like you. Your expectation is I want a relationship. He then tells you what? W, which is his wants. If he's not giving you the straight, yes, that's what I'm on, then you already know he's about to play. And even after PEW, there is another conversation after that, because once after you stated your expectations and he says, that's what I want exactly the same as you now have to lay out what you actually expect in full. What's the manifesto? Because you have one. You may not say it, but you have a manifesto. You have a manifesto that you operate by. You have a set of rules that you play by, that you are governed by. Do you understand? So you got to know your rule book in and out. The problem is you don't even know your rule book. You don't know the rules. You don't even know your own laws, but you have them. You have them. You have your own laws. You have your own rules that you actually operate by. So if you don't get to know them and you don't sit with them and you don't recite it and know it and live it, breathe it, feel it, I can guarantee you, I'm going to move in and I'm going to move mad. Because I'm looking for where there's a gap. I'm looking for where there's no gap. The Bible says, do not be ignorant of his devices, right? The devices haven't changed. Don't be ignorant of the devices. My device hasn't changed. I've not got some sudden new way. The truth of the matter is I'm just testing. And this is where Adam and Eve in the Bible comes in. Because this is what happens with men and women. Adam and Eve is exactly what happens with men and women, right? So I want to show you this. Satan didn't necessarily lie to Eve. I want you to understand something. He didn't straight up lie to her. What he did was he tested her truth, and then he added some juice to it, and a little bit of a sprinkle or something to discolor the water. It was a lie, but I'm saying that he sprinkled it, right? So what he did is that he began to test her truth. You said you want a relationship. That's fine, but let me test that truth. You said you want a man that is going to be kind. He's going to be loving. He loves the Lord. You know, he shows appreciation. He's a words of affirmation person. You've told me that's what you want, and I'm going to test your truth. If I test your truth and you don't pass your own test, you failed, not me. Because I'm coming there to take and to steal and to destroy. Because I'm in demon time. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to know what your truth is, and you have to know what your standards are, right? The game is difficult, but it's not difficult. It's straightforward because the men are straightforward. Look, when the men are in demon time, they operate just like Satan does, and Satan has a code. Look, Satan is not very difficult. He operates with the same premise always. I'm here to steal, kill, and destroy. And how I do that is I test to see if your truth is really your truth. Do you truly believe what you're saying to me? You say to me that you're not on sex? All right. Let's see. You told me that. You told me that, yeah? All right. But then you can't then give me behaviors that don't represent the fact that you don't want to have sex with me, no. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't. Right? You can't. Now, of course, there are some men who are going to be absolute, and I call them principalities. They're different from the demons. Principalities that move absolutely wild. But the reality is, most women don't meet principalities. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of you don't. Most of you meet normal demons, but you don't hold true to what you actually believe. So you get twist up, and then you call him a narcissist later on. You get twist up. You need to stay true to your actual truth. Do you actually believe it? And do you actually know it? Do you actually believe it and do you actually know it? If you do, when I come and I'm saying to you, hey, I'm talking in code. Oh my God, like you're saying to me, like, you want a relationship, you can see yourself with me, and you hear my code. My code is, you know what? Yeah, like, I think I can see that still. Like, do you know what I mean? But right now I'm just trying to do what I'm doing. Or you see I'm hesitant to answer certain questions on the future, or you see me not really engaged with that kind of conversation. I never bring up the future. I never try to talk about me and you and where we're going and stuff like that. If I'm not talking about it, trust and believe I don't want it. If I'm not talking about it, trust and believe I don't want it. So you have to be true to you and say your truth is your truth, and you're going to operate by that truth and by that law. So in that sexual dating market position, if I know that everyone below me is able to be influenced by me. So in that space, as a man, when you start looking at who's in that space in your league, right? Or who's around you in your league, doesn't always have to be below you. Some people are in the same level, but you can maneuver, right? When you start but the thing is, because women date up, this is the issue. The issue is that because women date up and they're hypergamous, it's harder to play somebody who's above you. Do you know what I mean? Unless you got certain superior skills, you know what I mean? Which is possible, because sometimes smaller teams beat bigger teams, right? So it's possible. Okay. Now, so those people that are in your league, you're gonna test them. The men are gonna test them to see if they truly believe what they believe. So do you believe what you believe? If you do, then let me know. If you know it, let me know. Become an immovable object. Okay? Become an immovable object. Know exactly what you want. See, men are responding to your standards. And I know it sounds mad, but a lot of men, and like I said, there are men who are very dark. Those are very rare. But the majority of men, even when they're playing in demon time, they're responding to your standards. The demons are even responding to you in Christianity. The demons are even playing to your standards, because they're also seeing what kind of truth do you hold, and will you stand in your truth? That's what Ephesians 6 is about. Ephesians 6 is talking about stand in your truth. Hold fast to this truth, which is the gospel. So that the day that basically the day that war comes, you're ready. The day that Satan comes, you're ready. What does that mean? It means hold fast to your truth. So the day that the person who comes to tempt and to test you comes, you pass the test because you've held to your truth. Do you get it? Right? So there's days that are coming where people are coming to test that truth that you have. So do you truly believe it? If you don't, I'm gonna play. I'm running out of water. I need to get some water. All right? Believe in your truth. You know what I mean? Okay. Babs says she'd rather be alone than deal with these games. But you know what, Babs? A lot of these games, energy-wise, you can actually stop a lot of these games. The games stop when you know what your truth is. The games stop when you know your filter system and you know exactly what you actually need. That's when the game stop. The game will end. The game stop when you know exactly what you want. Because all I'm talking about right now happens in milliseconds. It happens in seconds between two people. It happens in minutes between people. It's not always a long, prolonged thing. Sometimes it's literally a millisecond of interaction with a person and you get a vibe from them and you know straight away, oh, this person doesn't believe in their truth. right? Take that for free, right? So you got to hold to your truth. Listen, there are certain, there were certain, if I put this biblically, there are certain men that hang around like iniquity sins. They are always going to be there. They're going to try and orbit for as long as possible. You tell them, I'm not interested, but they're still orbiting. Think about the very things that you feel weakest in your sins, right? The sins that you know that they get you. Like, you know that if you give it room, it will get you. Think of it as that, as some of the men that are around you. Some of those men are just like the sins that easily get you. If you give them room, they will get you. That's how you have to think of it. It's not a game. It's simply hold fast to your truth. That's it. You know what I mean? Now we've got Gotti. What's it? Yo Gotti. Is it Yo Gotti and what's her name? Something Simmons. What's her name? Sorry, her name's gone out of my head. But Russell Simmons' daughter, right? Russell Simmons' daughter. Now Angela, and Yo Gotti now. Has he not been chasing her for 6 years? 6 years. That guy's probably gonna cheat on her. I shouldn't wish things like that, but like he's been orbiting for 6 years as a fan. As a fan. Not even as a friend, as a fan. Yo, when you finally get it and you realize it's not as great as you thought it was, you tend to mistreat it. You tend to realize, actually, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be, you know? I've been waiting for so long. You know when you get so hungry, you go past the state of hunger and then you get the food that you actually wanted that you no longer now want. That's a lot of times what happens to guys. They've been waiting on you for so long that now they're looking at you and you've gone past even the hunger that when they finally get you, they're no longer hungry anymore. Ladies, learn. You don't need to give some of these guys chances, man. Don't need to. You know he wasn't a friend. You and I both know he wasn't a friend. You and I both know. If he was a genuine friend, then fair enough. But a lot of these people are not your friends. A lot of these guys, ladies, that have been hanging around for a very long time are not your friend. That is why they end up turning on you if you give them a chance. Like Angela Simmons going to give you a Gotti a chance. I don't know how that's going to end, but I don't know. It could end well. But give it a few years and see what happens, innit? Do you get me? We'll see what happens. All right, cool. My next thing, Battle of Powers. So Battle of Powers specifically, I really need some water because my throat is killing me and chopping me blood. But Battle of Powers. Yo Gotti's rich now. Exactly. Okay. Yo Gotti is in the league now. He is. But you have to think, somebody who saw you as and this is a good point, Sam. Thank you for pointing this out, right? Somebody who saw you as above them now is in the same league as you. Do you think he's going to see you as the same person? He ain't. Most people won't. They're like, well, I've upgraded now. I can get bad chicks who never mistreated me in the first place. Because it will look like mistreatment. Even though you haven't mistreated the person, it will look like mistreatment, isn't it? Right? It will look like mistreatment. Because you've been waiting for so long and she never looked at you. And now suddenly you got money and you got status and you got power. She's now looking at you. Do you know what that does to the male ego? When I say mistreatment, not that she's been rude to him, not that she's been bad to him, not that she's been mean to him, but the fact is she never looked at him. The fact that she never looked at him, the fact that she never saw him, and now he's got money and he's got status, got wealth, and you're like, now you see me? I'm still the same guy. Where the women and men see things differently. When men see that, they're like, okay, all right, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna prove to you. Because the ego don't allow that kind of stuff. So unless he can quiet the ego and the pride, this ain't gonna end well. This ain't gonna end well. You see me? This might not end well. Just saying, innit? I'm not saying she's a gold digger or anything like that, by the way, either. It's more of a case of what their story is and how it began. If a man can't quell his ego, he gon' try and play her. He gonna try to play them. Absolutely, Jenna James. You know what I mean? So yeah, battle of the powers. Let me just get some water and I'll be back in a sec because we need to talk about this. But in the meantime, let me just put this on so you can actually watch what I was watching because I need to get.
Where we make the sexual culture less libertine. Like that's what it's about. It comes down to power. And do you feel like you have the power right now in the dating landscape?
I personally believe that my vagina deserves the absolute best in men, from courting to intimacy to foreplay to consistency. And so
Oh, I love consistency.
Yeah, I'm not engaging with anyone who's not showing me those qualities, and probably more that I forgot to mention, sexually. And because I'm not willing to partake in half-ass engagements with men in pursuit of sex, I am completely kind of like waving the flag and, okay with masturbating because I don't want to deal with what I feel like is in the market right now. So I don't feel like I'm in power, essentially.
All right. I mean, the conversation went a bit left, but it is what it is. Listen, I mean, perfect point that she pointed out, right? She spoke about power. And there's a battle of power when you meet somebody, especially if they believe they're the same level as you. There's a battle of power between two people, right? This is what I spoke about in the very beginning. When I meet you, if I'm in demon time, I'm assessing your level. What level are you? What level are you? I need to assess what kind of level you are to see what kind of game do I need to throw down. And so when people feel like they have more power than you, right, they tend to try and take advantage. And this is where you can use this to your advantage, ladies, right? Because the whole point of this is the power lies in your hands, not mine. The power lies in your truth, not mine. Because I want you. I'm trying to procure you. Therefore, you have the power, not me. I've got to trick you into thinking that I have the power, though. This is just like the gospel. Oh my gosh. It's kind of mad, I'm really deep in it. This is the gospel. Because in the same way, Satan has to trick you that you don't have no power. But the Bible says if you submit to the Lord, submit to God, and resist the devil, he will what? Flee. I need you to operate in the same way. Because you have the power in this interaction. You just have to believe you have the power. But if you don't believe it, I'm going to trick you into thinking that I have the power. Right? That's a good point, Tonya. I'll address that later on. That's a good point. Right? So now in this interaction, you're going to see that we're going to have this jostling. I've got to test because the whole point that Satan in the garden, he didn't have the power over Adam and Eve. But what he did have was the ability to test their truth and make them give up their power. And so when I'm dealing with you and I'm in demon time, I'm trying to make you, unless you're on it already, then it's not a problem. If you're already on it, then it's not a problem. But if you're like kind of like I don't really, then what's going to happen is I'm going to test your truth. And in that place, I'm going to battle with you in power. And oftentimes it starts off non-verbal, and then it becomes verbal, and it becomes physical, right? In terms of the power grapple. Non-verbal in terms of how do you look at me? Do you look at me like I'm a snack? Do you look at me like I'm a whole meal? You know what I mean? That's where it starts from. And then I might give you a look back like, you know what? I'll give you the sex eyes. How do you respond to the sex eyes? You know what I mean? Are you interested? Then it might turn into verbal. You saw what happened when Ready to Love, Fabrice, where he started talking about sex to see who would respond. It was Sue-Ann that responded, right? In the same measure, I might say something and I call it throwing out the bait. I throw out the bait to you of a question and I'm trying to see what you're going to say. Right? What are you going to say? What are you going to say back? Because that's going to tell me where you stand. That's going to tell me what kind of power does this person hold. Right? What kind of power does this person hold? Are they witty? Are they clever? Are they smart? You know what I mean? Like what's their movement like? When I throw out this question, Like, let me show you what I mean by this, right? Ladies know about this, right? And I've seen this in person. When a woman doesn't want you, doesn't like you, doesn't feel you at all, she isn't going to give you a good response. Let me give you an example. Here's a baited question you might throw out, right? Here's a baited question you might throw out. I mean, this one so I can remind myself what I've said about this baited question. Okay. Right. Here's a baited question that you might throw out, right? You throw a question like this. You know what? Nah, still, I can see me and you, you know. I can see me and you, you know. I can see me and you, like, you know, doing something. You know what I mean? Now, of course, I'm being very forward with it. You might be a bit more subtle, but you be like, you know what? Nah, do you know what? I need to come over and see you. Like, I need to come over and we need to chill and vibe. Now, you already know when I say chill and vibe, I'm coming over to chill and vibe. I'm not coming to chill and vibe because the way I've said it, right? What happens in that next moment is critical, right? It's critical because a lot of people follow through with their actual words. Some people are able to recover, but there's very few of you who can. That next statement that comes out your mouth tells you where you stand. Do you get me? If you know what I'm saying? If I'm like, yo, I was like, no, you know, you're looking good still. Like, you know, I think it should be me and you. Let me come round. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's all. Just chilling with a vibe. You know what I'm on. You can hear in my tone, in the way that my head's moving. You can tell by the way that I'm even, you know, dropping my voice a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm changing the inflections of the way I'm talking. You feel me? Nah, I seen you. All right. Okay. Nah, you're cute still. Mm. Yeah. The tone even is changing, right? And you can see it. And so what's happening is I'm trying to alert you without it becoming a big thing what I'm on. And in that same moment, what do you do? This is the temptation that's coming your way now. And the Bible says there's no temptation that's greater than any man that he can't overcome. The temptation is not bigger than you. There is always a way out for you in that temptation, the Bible says, right? He makes a way out for you. So there's a way out. But you heard my drop my tone, you heard me, my head dangling, you might have seen a little bit of chest come out, but either way, you know I'm coming with something now. And at that moment, what do you respond with? What do you respond with? Right? What do you respond with? Do you respond with you giggle because you're nervous now? Because now I've got you, you know what I mean? I've thrown you off key. Now, of course, some people are really nervous, but they are socially awkward and it's completely different. They will not give you the time of day, regardless. They could be nervous, whatever. But those of us who are socially aware, you might you might giggle or laugh because you know it's thrown you off. Or you might be like, you might say something like, why are you trying to be naughty? And it's like, oh, I've got you. Right? Because really what you should be saying for me is, I appreciate it, but I'm not here for the games. like I don't do those things. And it may sound so cutthroat, but it's like if you know I'm trying to play, and the reality, of course, listen, there are times where I'm going to be flirtatious, funny, whatever. But you know you have to set a standard from the beginning, and you can't trust my intentions because nobody's validated me. Nobody's given you a CV of me or a CRB check. You don't know me from Adam. You got to be careful of me. You understand? If you've had a CRB from somebody else who said, like, he's a good dude, he's a good guy, like, trust me, he's on them things, you can kind of let your guard down. But if I'm out here and I'm dangling my head, you know, I'm like, yo, you look good still. All right, cool. All right. As for me, I will tell you, if I'm on something, I'm going to tell you what it is. But not every guy does that. They like to leave things up in the open. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying for you, when it gets to a place where you start to see that, you've got to let games know, you've got to let the person know, listen, I'm not on the games. I'm a serious person, right? And there should be some serious conversation. That doesn't mean you can't flirt. What I'm saying to you is you're starting to see what I'm on. You know what I mean? You're starting to see what I'm on. You understand? So the baited question gets thrown out there to kind of see, where do you stand? Where does a person stand? Where are they standing? Okay, I can see where you are. Okay. You know, you got to have your questions ready. I didn't even put this as a thing. You got to have your questions ready too. And your questions is literally things that are in alignment with your filter system. In fact, let me put that in there, because you know what? I'm going to know. A movable object, the mindset. The immovable object is the person who has their mind set on their truth, and they have their filter system at the ready to go, right? Because it shuts everything. Choo. When you've got your ish together, it just cool. Everything just goes do. Everything gets shut down. Because when I come there, I'm coming with my mindset to come and play, right? But if you let you can even play, you can play along with me, because you know your mind, you know your filter system, right? You know your filter system. You already know. You know what I'm saying? Do. You know what I'm saying? Do. You know what I'm saying? You can kill all of that by knowing your filter system, right? Know your filter system. So if you know that for you want a man that's I'm gonna say it for the sake of this, a man that makes 6 figures, just for the sake of just talking, right? That's a filter system. You're like, oh, okay. You might even joke, oh, do you make 6 figures? You can say it as a joke. You'll see his response. And you'll see, because you see, the man's oftentimes, they're not ready for what you're about to give back. Do you understand? Right? Oftentimes we're not ready for what's about to come back. You see what I'm saying? You're not ready for that. That's why the Bible says, submit to the Lord, resist the devil, and he'll flee. Your resistance is in your truth. You might joke and be like, so, like, I hope he makes 6 figures. He's already sweating. Watch when he starts sweating. Look at his body language. Watch how he starts shifting and moving. Listen to how he might start stuttering. Listen to how he might even start talking about his finances. You suddenly realize he's not there. I'm just saying it's a general, it's not that I have to say that one. You know what I mean? Right? I used to tell ladies, listen, if you really don't want a man, start preaching them the gospel. I can guarantee they'll all start running. If you really want to entertain a man, start opening the Bible. Because only one thing's gonna happen, right? He gonna get converted. Or he gonna move away. Okay? All right? I used to say that today. I said, ladies, listen, if you really want to get rid of a man, just crack open the Bible. Start going to scriptures and start really preaching to him, properly preaching. I can guarantee you he's going to run away. I'm talking about the ones you don't want to talk to. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? Yeah. You want to get rid of a man? I'm telling you now, you tell a man, listen, that's fine, come to church. I want you to meet my pastor. Yeah, I want you to meet my pastor, because I don't be playing around. Yeah, you meet my pastor. Meet one of the shepherds or meet one of the other men there. They will mentor you. Let me know, right? When you don't want a man, you know what I'm talking about. When you don't want a guy at all, honestly, Jesus is the best cop block you will ever have. And I excuse my language when I say cop block, but you know what I mean. He will shut things down. You understand? He will shut things down. That's very true, El Cid. That's very true. And the purpose of this is, it's not that it is not, not everyone's going to make 6 figures, and not everyone is looking for that. But again, it's in that you've got to be coy with the way you deal. Rather than getting angry or getting mad or getting aggressive or getting rude, you got to get smart. You got to learn to be like the snake, crafty as a snake and gentle as the dove. That's how you operate. That's what the Bible tells us. Be as gentle as the dove, but be as crafty as the snake. So when you deal with a man, you have to operate in that same vein. You be as gentle as a dove, but you're as crafty as the snake. So now when you joke around like with this 6 figures thing, like, hey, like someone said, what's your plan for 6 figures? You're going to see how he's talking. He going to feel some type of way. Now, him feeling some type of way, you already know he ain't about that life. He ain't about that life. He ain't about that life, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't about that life. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? He ain't about that life. So, and again, that's just an example. It doesn't have to be that. There are other filter systems that you have. Maybe he needs to be a man of faith. Okay? Maybe he needs to be about Jesus. Okay? That's very easy. If you really are born again and you have Jesus in your life, then you got it. Easy. You can easily filter that because you know the word of God, you know who Jesus is, you know the Holy Spirit, and you know if this person really is about Jesus, you can begin to discern it. You know, it might be something else. Maybe it's that you like um maybe you like I don't know, maybe you like I don't know. I don't know. Whatever your filter system is, you know what I mean? There are things that you want that are non-negotiable. You know what I mean? Like you want to get married in 2 years' time. And they're like, well, you know, I can work with that. It's like, no, I want to get married in 2 years' time, you know. I want kids, I want this, da, da, da. Once you got your plan, you know, you will know. Because what would his plan be? Now, if you hear a guy say, oh, if you hear, and this is another thing as well, ladies, listen, if you hear a guy tell you, when you and listen, that's why I said don't be afraid. If you hear a guy saying this, yeah, the exact same thing as you, huh? If I tell you my plan and you tell me, oh, I got the exact same plan as you, yeah, I'm gonna tell you straight, you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. Your plan's my plan. I gotta cancel you because you ain't got a plan. How can you not articulate your plan? How can you not articulate your plan? You don't have a plan then. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't have a plan for your life. I don't need to be involved with you. So you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be afraid. You know, sometimes we're thinking, oh, don't say it because then he'll know and mold himself to be like the one that you want. Well, then you'll know. Because nobody's exactly the person you actually want. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, so like there were time I met this really cool girl and we was talking, right? And she was saying stuff that but I was like, yo, that's exactly how I think. Right? And I said that to her. She's like, "Oh, that's mad." Then I started talking. I started saying things first, and she's like, "Wait, you're saying the very things," and it keeps happening. Like I'm like, ah. So you will know because obviously, like I said, if that person, like I said, it will go both ways, right? The person genuinely will think that way. Now, of course, there are slippery, slimy slogs who get through and are very devious, but they're very elite level, dangerous people, and those people are a different standard. You know what I mean? Like um, so a good character can't be bought. Good character cannot be bought. So whatever you believe is a character of a man that you require, you should have questions that kind of allude to those characteristics. You should have questions that kind of allude to those characteristics. That's why I said to you, for me, right? When I remember I was talking to a girl in Ghana and I was like, so how do you like see the relationship between men and women, right? And she told me like, she used certain words like, this is a man's job. When I heard that, I said, yeah, that's not it. It's not for me. I think you don't love a man take out the bin. It's a man's job. I said, it's a man's job. Okay, but are you traditional? Because what you're saying, because you have to actively listen and decipher the code and then ask questions to make sure you're hearing what you're hearing and not just hearing what you want to hear. You understand? Because when she was saying to me, it's a man's job, I was like, it's a man's job. I'm a person that likes a mind that's collaborative. I believe it's a man's job. I mean, not taking out the bin. The bin is everybody's job. I don't know what this is. A man's job to take out a bin. It's nonsense to me. Everybody should take the bin out. I don't know why we're fighting over whose job it is to take the bin out. Y'all can take the bin out. Okay? You ain't gonna die. All right? But no one's gonna fight about that. But again, it's to understand the mindsets. Does that person's mindset agree with yours? When you start talking to that person, do you have a similar value system? Do you have a similar value system? Do you know somebody's background to know that maybe potentially they might have some triggers? Because when I start talking to people, I start hearing some of the things, I start realizing, oh, this person's got a little trigger here. If you play with them in this area, they're gonna mess up. You know what I mean? So again, it's all about knowing exactly what you want. And once you know what you want, everyone's got to fit into that system. And then the non-negotiables can't be negotiated. But those that can be negotiated, you negotiate on it. If your man is 5'1", but you wanted a 6-foot guy, that's not a need. It's a want. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then if he's got the other characteristics, go with it. Yeah, he's 5'1", but you know what? Frick it. He's got all the other characteristics that are non-negotiable for you. So you have to become an immovable object. Don't get moved because I moved you. Do you know what I mean? I want you to understand something as well. Listen, that's a very good one as well, Cammy. That's a very good one as well. And ask what questions they have. Free sexual market. Listen, what you won't give up, there are other women who will give up. That's to your advantage. I want you to understand something. What you won't give up, others will give up. It's to your advantage. And I'll tell you why it's to your advantage. Because what happens is the men, when they go for those women that give it up, they're not trying to date them. They're trying to date people like you. Do you see? And when a man is serious, he seeks out people that are also serious and intentional. So don't worry if the market out there are other women giving him what that man wants. That man don't even really want her. He just wants her for the night. He wants her for a few weeks, wants her for a few months, whatever. But that's not who he's trying to settle with. Do you understand? So don't be envious of that girl that's doing the most out there, because that's not who he's going to settle with. Well, of course, there's always an exception to every rule, but that's not who he's going to settle with. So don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Don't have the scarcity mindset that because no, darling, let him. That is not even your guy. The guy that's going there, that's not even your guy. The guy that's going over there to that girl, that's not even your guy. Abby, it not be your guy now. It not be your guy. So don't worry. Like, don't stress yourself over these things. Like, it's not your guy. Like, he's not the one for you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Number 5, opportunity cost is a real thing. Don't waste your time. I've said this about as well. Don't waste your time on people that don't actually have the same mindset as you and want the same things as you. It's a waste of time, and you're costing yourself opportunities, because as you're playing around with that other guy trying to figure out what's going on, you're missing the other person walking right up past you. Yeah, as you're trying to jostle and try to figure out where I am, as you're invested in looking at what I'm doing, you're missing the person walking right past you, walking right behind me. The opportunity cost could be coming your way. You won't even see it because you're so engrossed in me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly, opportunity cost. Don't allow yourself to be costing opportunities because you're wasting your time with a person who you know does not even want what you want. That's a waste of your time. Number 6, as I said already, and I've been speaking about this the whole entire time, you must know your needs. Filter me out. Know your needs. Have a filter. Filter me out. Get rid of me. Okay. And number 7, at all costs, this is my last point. At all costs, do not give in to me. If I'm on demon time and you want a relationship, do not give in to me at all. At all. Don't give in. Unless that's actually what you want. You just want demon time as well. That's fine. But if you don't want demon time and you want a relationship, you want to be married up, don't waste your time. Do not give in to me. Don't give in. And the giving in starts with what does James tell us? How does sin start? It starts off with a thought. Then it births an action. Then the action births death. So don't give it room. Don't give the demon time room. Don't give it. Don't give it time. Okay? Don't give it any room. Don't give it any time. Don't let them play. Okay? They're going to waste your time and you don't want to be there. Okay? They're going to waste your time and you don't want to be there. Okay? So, someone said if you play with the demons, the angels stay away. Love that. Okay? All right. So, Cammy Floyd asked question, said, but how does this apply to attractive people in general? People should avoid us because of their own insecurity or lack in boundaries and standards. Listen, I'm saying that when it comes to, you have to know what league you're in and know where you stand. That's what I'm trying to say to you, right? But I'm also saying to you that, listen, if you know that you can't contain yourself because that person's so fine to you that you are uncontrollably, you've made them into your little personal idol and God, don't play with them. You know you can't handle that right now, and they're not giving you what exactly you want, and you're not able to be officially objective about the situation because you're so enamored by their looks. This ain't the person to be with, because if you can't even be objective now, you won't be objective within the relationship, and you need to be objective in some sense within the relationship. to know when to pivot, when to address certain things, when to change certain things. But if you are so enamored by their looks, this is where love bombing comes from for men, and this is where women end up with abusive partners sometimes too as well. Some guys who or mistreated partners that mistreat them or whatever, right, and cheat on them and do it. You're so enamored by their looks and their status and their power that you're not being objective about the situation. If you know you can't be objective with that person, like every time you're with them, you can't be objective, you're probably in too deep already. You like them too much. And actually, that's not a good basis to start from, because we don't fall in love, we walk into it. I want you to understand something. We are not 18 anymore. We're grown people on this channel. We don't fall in love, we walk into it. It's an absolute decision that I make and that you make. You don't fall in love. Oh, when people tell you, I can't help who I fall in love, you're lying to yourself. I need you to stop lying to yourself, because you're lying to yourself and you're making excuses. Oh, I can't help who I fall in love with. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And yes, you can again. You have to choose to want to love that person. So if you're getting enamored and overtaken by the person's beauty to the point you can't be objective, yeah, it's time to get out of there. It's time to get out of there, because you're so consumed by their outer shell. You're so consumed by that person's beauty. You're not actually able to see within the person and what qualities they actually bring to the table. That ain't the person you need to be with. It's not their fault. It's yours. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. So I'm saying to stay away from that, so that you don't put yourself in that position. You know what I mean? And then Tanya said, Tonja said, "Is this any different than when a girl is fat and guys aren't interested? Then she loses weight and they all want her." Absolutely. So let me just say this now, okay? And this happens to guys too. Look, the beauty of the situation is this. When it comes to the situation, is you personally, okay? You personally, all right? I will say this. You can't be if some, and this is where it becomes tense, right? It becomes tense. If I knew you already, okay, if the girl knows you already, right, or you know somebody already, and this might be more men than actually women, but you know someone already, right? And when you met them, you were fat. I was fat, so I know. All right, you were fat. Then you lost weight. Okay, you lost weight, and now you become appealing. The problem is, you knew me who I was before. All that's changed is my outer shell, which means you don't like me for me. That's the problem of the mind that happens to the person. And it's very hard to shake that mindset. The reality is we like you for you, but we like your outer shell too. That's the reality. But this person who doesn't know you at all, who's only ever seen you as skinny, can show you love, and you will like that person because they've shown you love in your state now. But they didn't see you before. But the people that saw you before, who never engaged, but then when you became skinny, then began to engage, there's a problem there, because you didn't like me enough for who I was. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the problem with that. So unfortunately, those who are close to you or who know you well enough, they are going to lose out, because the reality is, if I'm too close to you and you glow up, why didn't I make a move before you grew up? I'm basically saying I'm uber shallow, even though the reality is we're all a bit shallow, because we all like somebody's outer shell. Ain't that a right? That's a dark truth. That is that dark truth. Unfortunately, that familiarity is going to breed contempt. So that person who you knew beforehand, if you didn't make a move then and you make a move after, yeah, they might entertain you. But the reality is they know that you don't like them for them. You like them for their outer shell. And yeah, comes a bit mad. You see me? So yeah, so there are guys, of course, when you lose weight, there are guys who want you. I'm going to tell you the absolute truth. I want to help some people here, and it's not going to be, I'm just going to be real with you. Okay? Especially for the ladies. Look, I'll be real with you. For those of you who are young enough, losing weight will absolutely open up all your options. It's going to tell you the truth. Can't lie to you. Yeah? If you were fat before or obese before, whatever you want to call it, the name, I want to be real with you because we're talking about dark arts today. If you were that and you begin to lose weight, your options will open. Your options will open drastically. Your confidence will even change. How you see yourself will begin to change. How you feel about yourself will begin to change. Right? And some of you, that's very true. Yes, and it does too, Jenna. It does as well. Jenna said it as well. Thank you for the sound. Yeah, Jenna said it as well. Losing weight helps you change. It changes your mood. Working out will change your mood. Like I'm telling you now. And look, a lot of our moods are based upon the fact that we're not moving. We're not getting fit. We're not active. You can change your whole mood by just even going to run or even a walk. And getting some fresh air. Getting just active. Right? And oftentimes what it is also is not just the weight. It is the aspect of having a goal that you're chasing. See, when you're chasing something, you have purpose. And purpose is attractive to everybody, men and women. So when you're starting to lose weight, you have a purpose. You're trying to lose weight. So what happens is you begin to have a focus. And the focus makes you attracted to other people because people are attracted to focus. Do you see? That focus that you have now because you're trying to attain a particular goal makes you attracted to other people. It's not just confidence. There are other tiny little things that begin to change. Your focus, your purpose, right? Even your opportunities change. Listen, ladies, let me be real with you. Let me be very real with you. Some of you are missing out on beauty, on the benefits of being, what we say, beauty, on being beautiful. I'll be honest, I'll be real with you. Okay, I'll be real with you. Some of you will lose weight, and suddenly men are just doing things for you. They're treating you better. They're checking for you. They're buying you things. You ask for things and they don't deny you no more. You go to the shop and they give you things for free. I'm just gonna be real with you, right? So listen, I'm gonna do a live one day. I love body positivity, I do, but the reality is you're dealing with men, and men are actually you have power over. You don't realize you have power. We do dumb things for women, We do a lot of dumb things for women. We do a lot of dumb things for women. I'm telling you, we do a lot of dumb things, right? We show advantages or benefits to women when we find them attractive. You got a nice shape, or you got a nice face, or you look good, or you know what I mean, you dress well. I'm telling you, men just start opening up doors for you, and you be like, what? And you say to yourself, well, are men just shallow? I mean, in some respects, yeah. But the other reality is we tend to give favor to things we like. Yes, Nicole, absolutely. I'm telling you, look, I'll go to the gym, so I know. When you see a girl busting out a workout, I'm telling you, see the man them, yeah? See, men really appreciate, like, I'm just giving you an example. Like, if you see a girl going hard in the gym and you see her just breaking sets, just doing her thing, like, just putting in the work rate, men actually respect that girl. Like, wow, this girl's putting in work, Like, we talk to each other like, bro, do you tell her she'll put in them weights, And you suddenly realize you gain favor. I'm just telling you, man. It is what it is, Ask Chrissy, love that point. Said, I gained a lot of weight during my toxic marriage, but lost it. My aura changed. I became more confident. The amount of attention I got from men was night and day. Absolutely. And what's interesting as well, Ask Chrissy, what you just said there, which is so potent and so powerful, is because it was a toxic relationship, you gained a lot of weight. your mood affected how you even treated your body. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a cyclical cycle, which once you get into it, fantastic, it works. But when you're out of it, it's hard to get in. But the reality is, being in that toxic relationship made you not really want to care about taking care of your body anymore, because you're so focused and preoccupied with the toxicity that it made you forget you. So I'm not saying this. I'm not saying you just do this for men. By the way, I'm not saying you just do this for men. Okay, I'm not saying you just do this for men. This is not what I'm saying. This is not what I'm saying. I'm giving you the reality of the transfer market and what happens within the transaction between men and women. But because you in that point in time where in a toxic marriage, you were so focused on toxic, you forgot you. Do you get what I'm saying? So you couldn't even focus on just loving you and just treating your body with the care that you wanted to treat it with. Then you get out of it, you feel like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders, and what's happened? Your aura's changed, your energy's changed, and you feel like you want to work out now. It changes you, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man, it changes you. So no, it's not just for us, not doing it just for us. I'm saying do it for yourself. Do it so you have more confidence. Do it so you have more positivity. And you'll start to realize, actually, it's not just opportunities for men. Your whole worldview and opportunities begin to shift and change. I'm telling you. I love that. I love that. You know? That's very true, Dorcas, as well. That's very true, because, you know, it all plays into it. You know? All plays into it. Katie, listen. Hey, you ever seen a bad girl walk past you? Of course you open the door. You will do more than open the door. You will even lay flat. Not really, but you know what I mean? Like, you will do the most. Oh, hey, let me open the door for you, right? Yeah. And her just even being polite, like, thank you. Da-da-da. Man, them feel sweet. Listen, I'm telling you, it goes a long way. Right? Goes a long way. Brother's feeling good about his day. Pretty girl said, hey, you know, I appreciate you opening the door. Thank you. Yeah? I'm gonna be real with you. Men are like on and off, and we are, I would say, shallow to a point as well. You know, a much more a much more challenged woman in the weight area, and the brother won't care. He opens the door, but he's not. When you say thank you, he's like, yeah, I appreciate it. It's no worry. He doesn't get excited. That's not all men, by the way, because every man has their preferences. But I'm talking about the majority of men. You know, pretty woman walks past, a nice shape or whatever, and she says, oh, thank you for holding the door. The man was getting excited. I'm just telling you what it is. You know what I mean? Just telling you what it is. You feel me? You know? Someone said that the men hog the freeway area. I'm telling you, just go into it. I'm telling you, just go into the freeway area. If you know what, go into the freeway area and grab the weights. The men won't say anything, man. Look, because men just want to know that you know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? The men get irritated not just by you, they get irritated by other men too when they come in there and they don't know what the frick they're doing. You understand? Gym goers are very specific. They hate other men too that also don't know what they're doing. So it's not personal to women. Anybody who doesn't know what they're doing, gym goers get annoyed because you're taking up space and you're breathing the air that we're breathing. That's the reality. So if you come in there and you don't know what you're doing, I'm telling you, if you ask the guy like, hey, how do I want to learn how to tone up. How do I do this? Right? If you don't know what you're doing, ask somebody. I'm telling you. That's it. Listen, and look, gym people are quite positive people. They really want to. They tend to be quite positive people. Not everybody, but they tend to be quite positive people, and they want to help. So if you ask people for help, like, hey, how do I do this? I want to make sure my form is good. Yeah, I want to make sure my form is good. Right? Yeah, the person, they will open up to you, man. That's very true, AW, as well, because most of them, they think they do, and they ain't no crap. they ain't know nothing, B. They say they know what they do, they ain't know nothing either, B. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, so that's what happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, most guys will help you, ladies. You know what I'm saying? So, as long as you're polite and you're thingy, most guys will be willing to help, especially a woman. We want to be praised. Look, grown men are little boys, right? Grown men are actually little boys. We want to be praised. And I'm telling you, women have the power to do this. That's why I said to you, women don't know what kind of power they have. Your thank you and your, oh, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Thank you for helping me. Look, I'm telling you, listen, and that's what I'm saying about the bias of men in this situation, right? You could be in the gym, yeah, in the gym. And look, once you know what you're doing, most men don't want to try and involve themselves in it. Now, of course, there's men that do. There are men that will try to interrupt your workout, but there are very few of them. Majority of men, if they see you working out hard, we're not about to interrupt you, because we all hate being interrupted when we're on our game. Do you know what I'm saying? We all hate it. So most dedicated gym people don't want to interrupt you when you're on your when you're going at your thing. You're like, oh, nah, just let the brother do what he's doing. Let the sister do what she's doing. She know what she's doing, right? It's when the people looking like they don't know what they're kind of doing, they're kind of dawdling, not sure what's going on, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Then sometimes people would interrupt them. But the reality is, yeah, man. I'm telling you, you know. But, you know, if like I said, again, going to the gym as well just kind of helps you, you know what I'm saying? You want to, helps you, you know, yes, usually they'll approach and help you. And a lot of times, listen, the guys are not looking to necessarily hit on you. What they're looking for is your validation. Y'all don't know. If I start breaking down this dark art stuff, you all don't know. I'll tell you the truth. Some of you think that they're trying to hit on you. Some of them are. But a lot of guys may be trying to hit on you, but really what they want is validation. And the validation is simply in you talking to them. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, of course. If you start following, we don't want you to start following them. We don't need to follow anybody around the gym. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the validation for a lot of men is simply the fact that you even breathe the air they're breathing. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're working out or whatever, and then you know what I mean, and you know you ask them for help or whatever. I'm telling you, that's when they start getting excited. They are gonna give you a sense. They are, Katie. Trust me. They get excited. They're like, oh my god, like she's like it's not. And listen, it's what it is. You know. Someone said a 0% chance of getting her. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've moved to a few girls at the bar, and I've moved to a few girls in the gym. It's the way you do it. You know what I mean? It's the way you do it. You know, I usually do it after I film my TikToks. After I film my TikToks, I know you've been watching me, so I can say, "Oh, sorry, just do you want to join my TikTok real quick?" No, oh, okay. There's a conversation that goes. You know what I mean? Like you can move mad like that. Do you know what I mean? You know. And stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. Most times you don't want to do that. It doesn't always work out. I'll be honest with you. The percentages are a little bit lower. It's harder to move people at the gym because they're doing their thing. Do you get me? But if you see people regularly, and this is why like in the gym is kind of good, because if you see people over a period of time, y'all will be catching each other's eyes like with a glint, like, oh hey, how you doing? You right? Like it's little things like that. Do you know what I mean? And over time, you kind of get to know people. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but yeah, people will definitely help you, man. You know, Mara, Grace, yes, they do. Men usually do. That's very true. We want to wait. You know what I mean? They want to wait. Okay, all right. They want to wait. They want to wait till you've done with your set, because there ain't nothing more annoying than you in your set. And even me, I watch. I'm like, yeah, she's in a set right now. Let me not let me not interrupt, man. Because I get pissed off when you interrupt me in my set. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean. I get annoyed. Don't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? So we don't do it to most guys who are sensible. Don't do that to ladies either. Like they can see you're in your set. You know, you're out here doing hip thrusts. We're not about to start. Do you know what I mean? But then when I see them guys really do. Some guys really do. You know. Some guys really do. So if I'm trying to if I want to talk to a girl at the gym, that's when I'll listen. I film TikToks anyway. That's when I'll film my TikTok, and I know by the time I finish my TikTok, you're watching me. You've broken the protocol by watching me for so long. you are looking at me smiling. So when I look around, I see you smiling. I'm like, you right? Cool. Then I can have a conversation with you because you started it. You shouldn't be looking at me. You should focus on your gym. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. But yeah, so just little things like that, guys. You know what I mean? Like I'm being naughty, but you know, these are going to the gym will honestly help men and women. And I said it to women, but men too. There's a lot of men who don't get any gal at all. Don't get any. Okay, there's a lot of men who are not being seen by women. Get your ass in the gym. Okay, get your ass in the gym. Put on a little bit of muscle. Maybe some of you need to lose weight. The man them. You know, some of you, you know, you need to improve your confidence, improve your game a little bit. And that's going to come from you feeling more confident about your body. Your body and your mind, they are in sync. They want to be in sync. So sometimes you need to just work out as well to help yourself. Some of you men are not getting seen. I'm telling you. Okay. I'm telling you, get your ass in the gym. Start working out. Start taking it seriously because it's not just about the working out. It's honestly about the fact that you have a purpose. Because when you go to gym, people have a purpose. They have a purpose to what? Work out. I'm ready to work out. Anyone else ready to work? I'm ready to go to the gym. I'm ready to go to the gym today. I'm going to lift weights. If I've got weights here, I'm going to lift it while I watch Love Island. So yeah, you know, it's you fact you got purpose and you got focus, right? You got focus. You got focus. Everybody looks at somebody in the gym when you see that person going hard in the gym and they're just focused on their workout. Look, ladies will tell you this. They might not tell you the full truth. I'll tell you the truth of what happens. When you see people that are focused in the gym, they're like several people in the gym. There's one type of person that comes to the gym where they are unfocused. They're on their phone. They're taking phone calls. They got their earpiece in. They're having a full-on conversation. They're not really tapped into their workout. Yeah? There are people that come into the gym and from the minute they start to the minute they finish, they ain't got time to have conversation. They're in deep in their workout. You can catch them before you can't catch them before. You can only catch them when they fully finish their workout. They come in, they get it done. On to the next set. They're not looking at nobody, not doing it. They're straight on. Right? Focused. Just focused. Focused on what they were doing. And when you see someone like that, you look at them. You're like, rah, they are focused. They're focused. I need to be focused like that. I need to be focused like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, come to the gym, be focused, get into it. Trust me, people start looking at you differently, man. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. I did say I was going to leave this on that, but I was going to leave on Dark Arts. But if you haven't already, guys, make sure you guys actually join our little our Dark Arts channel. I'm going to put the link down below. Join our Dark Arts channel. Yes, ladies, you have eyes too. Absolutely. You know, Elsid says she can't even stand when her husband interrupts. I hear you, B. I hear you. You know what I mean? So yes, make sure you join our Dark Arts podcast as well. Make sure you sign up to that. Get involved with that. We appreciate you guys. We're going to release some more content now in 2023. Okay, we're gonna be doing some more videos for you guys in the coming weeks as well, so that you guys can enjoy some of the Dark Art stuff. Because I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted you guys to know the real deal. You feel me? So, yeah, like and appreciate, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Mara just put this in. That is so funny. That is so funny. Elsa said, let's go darker. Okay, we'll go darker. You know, that's it. Truly Dorcas. Look at Truly Dorcas giving that good boy impression. That guy now is gonna love you forever, man. He's gonna be like, I appreciate that. A good word has been spoken. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me leave you guys. I appreciate you. Stay locked. Stay loaded. We'll see you again very soon. It's been blessings.